ओके बात में खाना
अनम्यूट क्यों रखा है? तुम लोग टीचर चिल्लाते ना अनम्यूट रखते थे।
मेरी आवाज तो नहीं जाएगी ना?
Yes, children. Good morning, everyone. Hello, can you hear me, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Please mute yourself, everyone. Mute yourself.
ठीक है। इसका ये देखो यहाँ पे मार्क देना आंसर, यहाँ से यहाँ तक फर्स्ट पॉइंट,
Nimra, Muskan,
यहाँ तक सेकंड
Hamad,
पॉइंट,
Faisal, mute yourself. Mute yourself, everyone.
ओ लाइट गई अम्मी।
जाओ।
कल दे देना टेस्ट।
हाँ एकदम 11 बजे।
Okay. So let's begin with our first module of first sem.
सब पहले भर लीजिए।
Hello, Nabil, mute yourself. So in the previous lecture, I had given you introduction of the different modules that will be covered in semester 1 of engineering chemistry. Okay. In that, the last module was water, where I had told you we will begin for the first, as a first module. Now, in this module, the water chapter is divided into 3 types. Can you see the slide, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the first part, we will be covering hardness of water and EDTA method. In the second part, we will be covering ion exchange method and BOD and COD. I'll explain you everything in detail as and when it comes. The last part is water purification techniques. Okay. Now, so before I start with, I have just put 2 questions on the slide. Can anyone just put it in the chat box? What is the pH of water? Don't say orally. pH of water. Pure water, huh? Yes. Okay. Kalash was the first one to answer. Okay. Yes. Neutral. The pH of the pure water is 7. Okay. So how do we get this water? What are the different natural resources of water? Can you put it in the chat box? Natural resources, huh? Natural ones. Artificial वाला नहीं चाहिए हमें. How do we get this water? Okay, people are writing rain, rain, rain. This is the only source. Okay, groundwater, very good. Oceans, okay, rivers. Any other sources of water? Yeah, groundwater, underground water, well water is one and the same. Okay. Lakes, ponds, from oxygen. Oxygen, we make water. Okay, that is not the natural one. Dams, again river, rain. Okay, understood. So these are the different sources of water. From this water, which is an impure water, we just, clear all the impurities. We remove all the impurities in order to get the drinking water. Okay. Now, what are these different impurities that are present in water? Okay. So these impurities that are present in water, they can be physical type of impurities, they can be chemical type of impurities, as well as biological impurities also. Okay. So what are these physical impurities? You can see it on the slide. Physical impurities, color of the water, turbidity, taste. इसका मतलब क्या है? Color of water मतलब क्या? Water का कोई color नहीं होता है, वो colorless होता है, right? लेकिन कभी कभी क्या होता है, अगर ये वाटर जो ड्रिंकिंग वाटर है या फिर why don't we drink sea water? Do we drink sea water? Do we drink directly river water? No, we just purify this water and then we drink it. But sometimes what happens, the color of water is pale yellow, muddy yellow, or it is not of pure transparent color or colorless. Okay, so ये क्यों होता है? Why this water is colored? Can anyone tell me in the chat box? Okay, taste is salty, ठीक है, but हम कलर की बात कर रहे हैं. क्यों वाटर का कलर चेंज होता है? कभी कभी वो पेल येलो रहता है. आपने
मेटालिक सब्सटेंस की वजह से आयन वियन होते हैं उसमें, मैंगनीज.
Exactly. It is because of the presence of different metallic ions present in the water. Can you name these metallic ions?
मैंगनीज.
Yeah. Chat box में भी डाल सकते हैं आप लोग. हाँ. Iron. Junaid Ahmed has written iron. Faisal has written iron.
algae.
हाँ. We are talking about physical impurities. Color की बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग. Okay. Metal oxides. Yes. हम कौन से मेटल आयंस प्रेजेंट होते हैं? आयरन प्रेजेंट होता है, जिंक प्रेजेंट होता है, पोटेशियम प्रेजेंट होता है वाटर में, मैंगनीज,
मैंगनीज,
Manganese, magnesium.
yes, they impart their color to water. Okay, that is why sometimes we get a pale yellowish type of water or yellowish red type of water. Then turbidity. Sometimes what happens, because of these metal ions, they form either carbonates, oxides, and sulfates. So that is the reason ये water हमें turbid मिलता है. No, मिट्टी जैसा उसका कलर रहता है water का, और उसका टेस्ट भी इतना प्लेजेंट नहीं रहता है. कभी कभी ऐसे होता है ना, हम कभी पानी पीते हैं तो वी गेट अ बिटर टेस्ट. ओके, तो ये बिटर टेस्ट क्यों होता है? इट इज बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल दीज अननेसेसरी, और आई विल से यू the presence of these extra ions in the water. Okay, certain ions are required, but ions such as like iron, manganese, then magnesium, aluminium, zinc, they form this unpleasantness or unpleasant taste in the water. Okay, so this is one reason. These are the different physical impurities that are present in water. The second one is chemical impurities. I have written it on the slide also. अभी ये जितने भी इंडस्ट्रीज है, दे यू नो दे थ्रो अवे or they release certain effluents. Of course, now you know in this particular
मैम
era,
दूसरे लोग का माइक म्यूट करो ना, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी सही से.
who is that? Unmute, 1 minute. People, mute yourself. Shahi Noor, Sarfaraz, Sain Kaskar, Dilshad, mute your mic.
मेरा म्यूट ही है. पैसा दीजिए.
कौन है ये? शाही नूर,
दिलशाद है.
दिलशाद एंड शाही नूर.
पैसा दीजिए.
कौन है? सब म्यूट है अभी. Now, if I hear any kind of noise, I'm just going to remove you from the meeting. Okay? I hope I am clear to everyone now. It's better you mute yourself and listen to the lecture. Okay? Otherwise, please don't create disturbance while teaching. Yeah. Shahinoor Sheikh, mute yourself.
मैम मेरे यहाँ से म्यूट नहीं हो रहा है, आप कर दो ना.
मैंने भी किया बेटा, मेरे यहाँ से भी नहीं हो रहा है. ओके, जब मैं आपको बोलने के लिए कहूंगी, किसी का नाम लूंगी, तभी आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करना. टिल देन यू बी अटेंटिव. ओके, हाँ. तो दिस वाज अबाउट द फिजिकल इम्प्योरिटीज, जो हमको देखने से ही पता चलता है या टेस्ट करने से पता चलता है. नाउ द नेक्स्ट वन इज केमिकल इम्प्योरिटीज. जैसे मैंने बोला, ये इंडस्ट्रीज जो है, वेन एवर यू नो डाई इंडस्ट्री है, पेंट इंडस्ट्री है, वार्निशेस है, ड्रग इंडस्ट्री, दे ऑल रिलीज एफ्लुएंट्स. These effluents can be inorganic or organic compounds. Now you know, past few years there is a new act. तो जो भी अपना इंडस्ट्री या अपना प्लांट बनाना चाहता है, they want to create this type of plant, chemical plant, then they are first supposed to give the treatment plan also. Okay, so whatever effluents or chemical impurities that are thrown out of the into the drainage, you know, तो उनका ट्रीटमेंट भी होना चाहिए. उनका ट्रीटमेंट होने के बाद में these effluents are released in the drain pipes. Okay, ये अभी रूल है, लेकिन पहले ऐसा नहीं था. But still there are, even if you you know treat all these effluents and all, still there are certain chemical impurities present. So these industries, what happens, you know, when they release these toxic compounds or treated compounds, they make the water acidic. ओके, क्योंकि क्या होता है, एफ्लुएंट्स में कभी डिसॉल्व कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड रहता है, कभी डिसॉल्व सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड रहता है, कभी डिसॉल्व हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड रहता है. So all these things, you know, they make the water acidic, and such type of water, obviously it is not used for any kind of domestic purposes, neither for drinking, not for washing, not for any other purposes. Okay, so these are the different chemical impurities that are present in water. Then the third type of impurity that are present in water is biological impurities. आपने देखा होगा कभी कभी पानी जो टैंकर जिसके यहाँ पे पानी का सप्लाई है ठीक है, लेकिन कभी कभी जो टैंकर से पानी आता है उसके अंदर इट इज नॉट completely a pure water. So such type of water is not advisable obviously for drinking purpose, because these algae, pathogenic bacteria, viruses, different microorganisms, all these fungi which are not easily naked through our eyes, it cannot be seen through our eyes because they are microorganisms. So all these parasites and these biological impurities, they contaminate the water. Okay, so such water, if we drink, definitely it causes harm to our liver. It's bio obvious. So these are the different impurities that are present in water which has to be treated. अभी ये जो मैं फर्स्ट पार्ट आपको पढ़ा रही हूँ ना, पहले हम देख रहे हैं जैसे हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं तो फर्स्ट द डिजीजेस आर डायग्नाइज्ड, तो सेम वे वाटर के अंदर क्या क्या इम्प्योरिटीज है पहले हम वो फाइंड आउट करेंगे, फिर वो फाइंड आउट करने के बाद क्यों ऐसा है, इसको कैसे ट्रीट किया जाए, all this we will study in detail. So children, please just write down these impurities in water and just write down physical impurities, chemical impurities and biological impurities in your notebook. I hope you all have made a notebook. Okay, don't write the detail because all this you will get it in your notes. Just write down the heading, at least you will come to know कि हमने ये part cover किया है. Let me know if you have completed.
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है. Before I go into the next slide, let me give you ask you few basic questions. Like, अभी इतना तो समझ में आ गया कि like water consists of impurities, water, river water, no matter what water, they consist of impurities. अब ये impurities जो present है water में, as I told you, it is not advisable for domestic purposes. Okay, so can we use this water directly? No, we cannot use. Such type of water, it is hard water. It cannot be used for domestic purposes, not for carrying out certain suitable experiments, high level experiments के लिए भी हम ये पानी use नहीं कर सकते, neither in industries nor in labs. Okay, so what do you think the water which we drink is what type of water? The water which we use it at home. Put it in chat box. The water which we drink it at home or we use it at our home for washing, cleaning, whatever purposes, वो कौन सा पानी हम use करते हैं? What type of water it is? Okay, mineral water. We don't use mineral water for domestic purposes. Okay. Someone has written soft water. Yes, normal water. What is normal water? Potable water.
Groundwater.
Okay. No, we don't use directly groundwater. In cities, at least we don't use purified water. Exactly. This purified water, potable water, normal water, it has got certain chemical term which is called as soft water. Okay. अब मुझे एक बात बताओ चैट बॉक्स में कि अगर ये जो सी वाटर का पानी है, अगर ये डायरेक्टली हम इसको यूज करते हैं फॉर वॉशिंग पर्पस, व्हाट डू यू थिंक इट विल मिक्स अप विद द सोप? विल इट फॉर्म लैदर, फोम, झाग जिसको बोलते हैं हम, जो साबुन लगाने से झाग आता है, फोम आता है, will it form that? Yes, obviously no. So such type of water where it doesn't form any lather with the soap, ध्यान से सुनो, water which does not form lather with soap, such water is called hard water. Okay. Before we step into another topic, we should know what is hard water. I repeat once again, water which does not form lather with soap is called hard water. Okay, then can you please define what is soft water? Yes, in the chat box. मैंने कहा हार्ड वाटर क्या है? हार्ड वाटर इज दैट वाटर विच डज नॉट फॉर्म lather with soap. This is hard water. Then what is soft water? Put it in chat box. और कोई अनम्यूट करके भी बोल सकते हैं. Shall I ask someone? Okay, someone. हाँ. Okay, okay, okay. Sign Kaskar has written the water which forms lather with soap. Okay. Yes. Yes. Exactly. So, what is soft water then? Soft water is that water which forms lather with soap. And what is hard water? Water which prevents or which does not form lather with soap is called as hard water. Okay. So this is very important for us to know the differentiation between hard water and soft water. Because hard water agar hard hai, now the next point is, okay, fine. We understood the water is not forming lather with soap because it is hard water. But how far it is hard? कितना हार्ड है, तो उसकी इंटेंसिटी भी जानना हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि अगर कोई वाटर हार्ड है तो हाउ फार इट इज हार्ड, हाउ फार इट इज नॉट, हाउ फार इट इज नॉट फॉर्मिंग लेदर विद सोप. So that intensity, that capacity of water is called as hardness. So what is hardness of water? Hardness of water is defined as the soap consuming capacity of water. Okay. What is hardness of water? Hardness of water is defined as the soap consuming capacity of water. Okay. Write down these three definitions in your notebook. Just the definitions. हो जाएगा तो मुझे बोल दो. हाँ, okay.
Done, ma'am.
I hope yes, done ना. Okay. तो अभी हमको अच्छे से समझ में आ गया what is hard water, what is soft water. Okay. So we understood the definition also. Iska difference between, generally it is asked in the university board exams. Okay. Write the differentiation between hard water and soft water. Okay. Now how do we explain? अभी मैंने जितना भी explanation आपको दिया, this is all reactions, right? So I need to explain this in terms of reaction. Now soap के अंदर कौन सा chemical present होता है? It's written in the slide. It is sodium stearate. Okay, yeah. Sodium stearate का what is the formula? C17H35 COONA. तो soap में अगर stearate present है, for example sodium stearate present है, अब hard water के अंदर it can be any type of hardness, any type of compound that is present. तो मान लीजिए हार्ड वाटर के अंदर कैल्शियम क्लोराइड प्रेजेंट है. ओके, सो व्हाट हैपेंस, व्हाट रिएक्शन टेक्स प्लेस, यू नो, दिस कैल्शियम क्लोराइड रिएक्ट्स विद सोडियम स्टीरेट टू फॉर्म कैल्शियम स्टीरेट, एंड अलोंग विद कैल्शियम स्टीरेट व्हाट डू वी गेट? NaCl. अब ये जो कैल्शियम स्टीरेट है, मैंने क्या कहा? हार्ड वाटर इज दैट वाटर विच डज नॉट फॉर्म लैदर विद सोप. तो अगर ये लैदर फॉर्म नहीं करेगा, फोम फॉर्म नहीं करेगा, so what will it form then? Yes, anyone in the chat box? Did you understand my question? मैंने कहा अगर हार्ड वाटर के अंदर कैल्शियम क्लोराइड प्रेजेंट है, this calcium chloride reacts with the soap. Okay, of course it will not form lather, definitely it will not form lather. Then what will it form? It will form sodium stearate. Okay, so sodium stearate is the reaction. Sodium stearate is the reaction. Okay, so 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 sodium stearate is the reaction. Okay, You got my question? No. Salt is NaCl. NaCl is formed. NaCl is in the form of liquid. What will it form? See the reaction very carefully. The answer is in the reaction itself. Yes, Amar Chogle, you are right. It is the precipitate of calcium steel. Followed everyone. Imagine karo aapne pani kiya hai and you are trying to clean your hands. Okay. So when you clean your hands, you get a foam on your hands, right? But this foam is not forming. It is forming the precipitate of calcium compound. It is forming the precipitate of magnesium compound. It is forming the precipitate of zinc compound. So all these magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride, carbonates, bicarbonates, all these chemicals, all these impurities in the form of salts which are present in hard water, they will never form lather with soap. They will only form precipitate with soap. So this is what is given in the reaction. Okay. So C17H35COO, which is the stearate compound, it forms calcium stearate, wherein the sodium chloride salt is released in the water. So in case if magnesium sulfate is present in the hard water, then it will react with the sodium stearate to give magnesium stearate. Okay. So this is soapy hard water precipitate that is present in the water. And along with it, we get sodium sulfate. Followed everyone? Reaction समझा सबको? तो जो भी मैंने अभी आपको explain किया, you have to write down in the terms of reaction. Please copy down this reaction, children. This reaction is very, very important. Huh? Whenever the definitions and the differentiation is asked in the exam, you have to write down the reactions also. किसी को डाउट है तो पूछ सकते हैं. If you have done it, then write down in the chat box as done. Okay, I'm changing the slide. Okay. Now comes the point here, the most important point. Okay, तो हार्ड वाटर समझ में आया. अब मैंने कहा आपको डिफरेंट फिजिकल इम्प्यूरिटीज, केमिकल इम्प्यूरिटीज, बायोलॉजिकल इम्प्यूरिटीज, दे आर प्रेजेंट इन हार्ड वाटर. Okay, now these impurities are nothing but organic and inorganic compounds, right? These are organic and inorganic compounds. तो ये organic और inorganic compounds means what? जैसे कि अभी हमने पहले वाले reaction में देखा, it can be calcium chloride, it can be calcium sulfate, it can be carbonate, it can be bicarbonate, it can be hydroxide. Okay, few examples are written in the very first point. Okay, magnesium sulfate, calcium bicarbonate, then calcium sulfate, iron sulfate, FeSO4, FeCl3, aluminium sulfate, zinc carbonate, all these minerals, okay, we call them as minerals. All these minerals, salts of bicarbonates, carbonates, hydroxides, sulfates, chlorides, nitrates, when all these soluble salts जो पानी के अंदर डिसॉल्व होते थे, पानी को हार्ड वाटर को देख के हमें पता चलता है कि ये हार्ड है? ऑफ कोर्स नो, बिकॉज दीज सॉल्ट्स आर डिसॉल्व इन द वाटर. We come to know only when we mix it with soap, and the soap, instead of forming lather, it forms precipitate. Okay, so ये जो जितने भी salts है, all these salts, if they are present in water, they make the water very, very hard. And such type of water is not at all advisable for any kind of industrial domestic purposes. Followed everyone? So whenever these water, when they are passed on to the different cities, to municipal plants and all, obviously they are purified. But before purification, it is very, very important to know if the water is hard, how far it is hard. That is the hardness of water we should be able to judge. For that, we need to do certain kind of estimation. This estimation, of course, we are going to do in our labs also. Regular practicals में जब practicals होगा, हम आपको बुलाएंगे और hardness of water का हम experiment भी करेंगे. ओके, तो ये जितने भी सॉल्ट्स हैं, जब इनको सोप के साथ में मिक्स किया जाता है, मैंने कहा इट फॉर्म्स प्रेसिपिटेट. These precipitates that are formed, they are formed in the form of white curdy precipitate. Followed everyone? ओके, तो जब तक कि ये पूरे सॉल्ट्स जो है ये पूरी तरह से प्रेसिपिटेट फॉर्म नहीं करते, until then they do not mix with the soap. Only when these salts are formed completely the precipitate, then the soap starts forming lather. Then the water starts forming lather with the soap. Followed everyone? Just write down the first point. Okay, just the first point. Let me know if I am going very fast or slow. Let me know. These are the basic things we have just started up. Okay. जैसे जैसे हम जाएंगे हम हार्डनेस का न्यूमेरिकल्स करने वाले हैं, then EDTA न्यूमेरिकल्स also we will be. Okay. Just write on the first point. Shall I change the slide? Okay. It's done. People are telling it's done. Okay. Before I move on to the before I move on to the next slide, now we understood what is hardness. Now we understood very well what is hard water. What are the different salts? Okay. What are the different compounds that makes the water hard? ये समझ में आया. But यहाँ से अब नेक्स्ट जर्नी पे हम जाएंगे. ये जितने भी मिनरल्स है, जितने भी सॉल्ट्स है, जितने भी impurities present है, okay, all this definitely make the water hard, no doubt in this. Okay, but there are certain salts, they which can be removed very easily just by boiling the water. You must have seen your mothers boiling the water at home. Okay, just by boiling the water and filtering it, few minerals or few impurities or few compounds can be removed very easily. Okay, whereas there are certain compounds even after boiling they cannot be removed at all. तो इनको रिमूव करने के लिए स्पेशल टेक्निक्स चाहिए. ओके, मैंने क्या कहा? आई रिपीट वंस अगेन. There are certain salts, certain minerals, certain compounds which can be removed from water, from the hard water, just by boiling it. You boil it for 30 minutes, you boil it for 45 minutes. All these salts can be removed. I'll tell you how it can be removed. ये आपने कभी देखा होगा, कोई वाटर आप जब बॉईल कर रहे हैं, बॉईल करते वक्त व्हाइट प्रेसिपिटेट जैसे फॉर्म हुआ है, जो कंटेनर के जो वॉल्स पे जो है व्हाइट प्रेसिपिटेट जैसे फॉर्म हुआ है. These precipitates are nothing but the salts that has got deposited. ये जो soluble salt था अभी वो insoluble हो गया है, and this gets stuck on the walls of the container. Okay, तो इसको हम फिल्टर करेंगे तो these minerals, these salts can be removed very easily. Okay. Whereas there are certain salts, even after you boil for 1 hour, 2 hours, these salts cannot be removed at all. ये बहुत tough salts होते हैं, इनको निकालने के लिए we need special techniques. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? कुछ salts ऐसे हैं जो temporarily hardness create करते हैं water में. Okay, there are certain salts which create temporary hardness in water. because they can be removed just by boiling. Okay, तो इसको हम बोलेंगे temporary hardness of water. कुछ salts even after boiling they are very tough to be removed. Okay, कभी कभी होता है ना ऐसा, तो it cannot be removed. तो ये water को, ये salts को separate करने के लिए we need special techniques. Such salts create permanent hardness in water. Okay, followed everyone. So the hardness of water is of two types. What are these two types of water? Hardness of water, temporary hardness and permanent hardness. तो अब ऐसे कौन से salts हैं जो temporary hardness create करते हैं और ऐसे कौन से salts हैं जो permanent hardness create करते हैं? तो हमने एक चीज किया, जब हमने ये एक्सपेरिमेंट कैरी आउट किया तो टेम्पररी हार्डनेस जो क्रिएट करते हैं वो सॉल्ट्स हैं कार्बोनेट्स एंड बाइकार्बोनेट्स. दे फॉर्म व्हाइट प्रेसिपिटेट ऑन द वॉल्स ऑफ कंटेनर और बॉइलर. Okay, so these carbonates and these bicarbonates of calcium, magnesium, aluminium, whatever, okay, all these salts, they form precipitate, white precipitate, which can be removed by boiling and by filtering. Followed everyone? So this type of hardness created by the carbonates and bicarbonates of calcium, magnesium, aluminium, etc., they are called as temporary hardness of water. What are they called as? Temporary hardness of water. So how do we define this temporary hardness of water? Temporary hardness of water is caused due to the presence of bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. Our main focus over here is calcium and magnesium, children. Of course, these others, iron भी है, aluminium ये सब है, लेकिन हमारा main focus जो है, ज़्यादा करके अगर हम calcium and magnesium बोल रहे हैं, it automatically aluminium zinc comes up into this only. Okay, तो मैंने aluminium zinc को कहीं भी ज़्यादा specify नहीं किया है, ज़्यादा मैंने सिर्फ calcium and magnesium को specify किया. Okay, so it is called as temporary hardness. Why it is called as temporary hardness? Because this hardness can be removed just by boiling. So Joe, whatever I said you, I have put it up in the reaction. This is the formula for calcium bicarbonate, CaHCO3 twice. So when it is boiled or heated up nicely, it forms white precipitate of calcium carbonate which sticks on the walls of boiler, and along with this calcium carbonate, water and carbon dioxide is released in air. Followed everyone? Similarly, if magnesium carbonate is present as a soluble salt in water, okay, so this magnesium carbonate can also be removed by boiling, where it forms magnesium carbonate precipitate along with the release of steam and carbon dioxide. Followed everyone? So on boiling, soluble calcium bicarbonate or magnesium bicarbonate, as I told you, they become insoluble, which can be removed by filtration. So the other name for temporary hardness is alkaline hardness or carbonate hardness. तो आपको ये याद रखना है, this is the most favorite question of Mumbai University board exam. Difference between temporary hardness of water and permanent hardness of water. So temporary के जगह पे they generally don't ask in terms of temporary. They either ask alkaline or carbonate hardness. So children, please write down this heading. Okay, write down the first point and the reaction. Just the first point and the reaction. हो जाएगा तो फिर डन करो. Till then, I am taking
डिफरेंशिएट 3
attendance.
मार्क्स को आता है.
क्या बेटा?
डिफरेंशिएट 3 मार्क्स के लिए कि 2 मार्क्स के लिए आता है?
Three marks question. It is the question number 1A in the board paper, and all question number 1A is of 3 marks. So in this
Ma'am,
3
how
mark
many
question,
points
it
we
is
have to write?
expected that you should write 6 points, half mark each point. Okay. Sometimes in the question they specify, okay, write down 2 or 3 points. Sometimes if they don't specify, you are expected to write down 6 points. Yeah. Answer your roll call. Unmute करके जिसका मैं नाम लूंगी वो आंसर करो. हाँ, roll call. 59 are present, so 4 are absent today. So this 59 should be till the end of the lecture. Roll number 1. So Maya, you all know your roll numbers now? I hope you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Maya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mansoori Muskan.
Present, ma'am.
Humaira.
Present, ma'am.
Rojina. Rojina, are you there? Mulla Zeba.
Hello.
Zeba, you are present. Rojina, you are present. Okay. Zeba is also present. Tanaz.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Nimra.
Present, ma'am.
Janice.
Present, ma'am.
Shahinur.
Present, ma'am.
Nidhi.
Present.
Okay. Anevia.
Present, ma'am.
Ashik Ali Noor Mohammed.
Present, ma'am.
Adnan Suleiman.
Present, ma'am.
Ansari Ibad. Ansari Ibad. Dilshan.
Yes, ma'am.
Ansari Mohammad Alam.
Present, ma'am.
Ansari Katada. Ansari Katada absent है. Chogle Amman.
Present, ma'am.
Ayan Deshmukh Ayan. Deshmukh Ayan. Sent. Ghazi Mohammad Tabish.
Present, ma'am.
Ghazi. Okay. Hodekar Kamil.
Present, ma'am.
Saklen.
Present, ma'am.
Saim.
Present, ma'am.
Arshad.
Present, ma'am.
Aves. Khan Aves.
Present, ma'am.
Khan Fahad. Khan Faisal.
Present, ma'am.
Faisal is present. Okay. Fazil. Khan Fazil.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Khan Mohammad Sharif.
Present, ma'am.
Khan Mohammad Sharif. Okay. Khan Mohammad Afzal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Arbaz.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Nabil. Nabil
Present,
is
ma'am.
present. Khan Shehbaz. Saibaz, it is
Present,
written, no? Okay. Mother Adil.
Present, ma'am.
Where Adil? You are named as
Present,
Rizwan. Yes. Okay. Merchant Khalid. Merchant Khalid. Absent. Mohammad Suleiman.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, beta. Mohammad Rehan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mujawar Junaid.
Yes, ma'am. Present.
Mujawar Naved.
Present, ma'am.
Nadav Zaki.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Nevrekar Danish.
Present, ma'am.
Patel Affan. Patel Affan. Okay. Sarfraz Haider Ali. Sarfraz Haider Ali.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Sarkar Aryan.
Present.
Sayyid Asad. Sayyid Asad. Sayyid Asad. Sayyid Rizwan.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Sheikh Ali Asgar. Sheikh Ali Asgar.
Present.
Where I cannot see your name. मोहम्मद दानिश शेख लिखा है. वही है
Present,
क्या
ma'am.
आप ही हो?
मैम
अच्छा तो वसीफुर कौन है?
Yes, ma'am.
वसीफुर. Ali Asgar, unmute yourself.
Present, ma'am.
हाँ, okay. अर्श, शेख अर्श, शेख जुनेद अहमद. ओके. शेख तैयब, शेख मोहम्मद तैयब. ओके. शेख तहा.
Present, ma'am.
ओके. शेख मोहम्मद रजा.
Present, ma'am.
शेख मोहम्मद तौसीफ. शेख मोहम्मद तौसीफ. शेख सैफुल इस्लाम. शेख सैफुल इस्लाम. ओके.
Present.
तौसीफ, हाँ मैंने समझा बेटा. तौसीफ is absent. तौसीफ is present.
Yeah, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. Sharjil, Sheikh Sharjil.
Present, ma'am.
Where Sharjil? I cannot see you. Where you are unmuted? Sheikh
Present,
Sharjil.
ma'am.
Okay. Siddiqui Mohammad Ahmad. Okay.
Present.
Siddiqui Zaid.
Present.
Siddiqui Sohail.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Siddiqui Umar Farooq.
Present, ma'am.
Siddiqui Wasifur Rahman.
Present, ma'am.
Mohammad Zishan. Mohammad Zishan. Okay. Waqas Faisal Malim. Waqas.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I hope you have completed this temporary hardness. You have written these reactions also.
मैम
हाँ बोलो. Yes.
मेरे प्रेजेंट ही नहीं लगे मैम, मेरा माइक काम नहीं कर रहा.
कौन है? रोजीना.
हाँ यस.
हाँ लगाया बेटा मैंने आप. Okay. So let's move on to now the other type of hardness, which is permanent hardness. But before I move on, तो जितने भी carbonates है, bicarbonates है, okay, they cause temporary hardness of water. Even hydroxides also, okay. Carbonates, especially bicarbonates, they cause temporary hardness of water. So what is left now? Sulfates, chlorides, bolo, sulfates, chlorides, nitrates of all the metal ions like calcium, magnesium, aluminium, iron, zinc. All these aluminium nitrate, aluminium sulfate, iron iron nitrate. All these sulfates, nitrates, and chlorides that are still present in the water in the form of soluble compounds, they cannot be removed just by boiling. So when they cannot be removed just by boiling, they remain in the water, creating impurities. Such type of water which causes hardness is called as permanent hardness. So permanent hardness of water is caused due to the presence of chlorides, sulfates, and nitrates also of calcium, magnesium, and other metal ions. Okay. As I told you in the previous slide, our main focus is on calcium and magnesium. And when I speak only about calcium and magnesium, it is well understood. I'm talking about other metal ions also. Okay. So these particular compounds.
नहीं लगा.
बेटा अभी होने दो, लेक्चर के बाद बोलो. So these compounds cannot be removed ऑयली, इनको स्पेशल टेक्निक्स चाहिए. स्पेशल टेक्निक्स जैसे कि आयन एक्सचेंज टेक्निक, लाइम सोडा टेक्निक एंड जियोलाइट मेथड्स. ओके, आपके घर में होगा, वाटर फिल्टर भी लगा होगा जहाँ पे वो एक्टिवेटेड कार्बन आप लोग यूज करते हैं, राइट. जो स्पेशली जो नवी मुंबई साइड में रहते हैं, दे कंपल्सरीली यूज दिस वाटर फिल्टर्स एंड ऑल. I also use when I was staying in Mumbai, मैंने कभी यूज नहीं किया, बट यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा वाटर मुझे कभी कभी हार्ड लगता है. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट हियर पीपल यूज जनरली दिस एक्टिवेटेड कार्बन वाला वाटर फिल्टर. देन एलजी का नया टेक्निक है जहाँ पे आरओ भी है, सब कुछ है, वेर वी गेट प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ वाटर. So all these are types of removing unwanted impurities from the water. So these permanent hardness of sulfates, chlorides and nitrates, they can be removed by special techniques of lime and soda, ion exchange method and zeolite method. Now in your syllabus, lime and soda is not there. पहले वो था 2018 तक वो आपके सिलेबस में था. अभी आयन एक्सचेंज मेथड है जो कि हम आगे पढ़ेंगे. ओके, तो इनके जो रिएक्शंस हैं, ये सोडा है. लाइम का फॉर्मूला आप मुझे बोल सकते हो? व्हाट इज लाइम फॉर्मूला? कैन एनीवन टेल मी? बोर्ड में चैट बॉक्स में लिखो. लाइम का फॉर्मूला LIME, लाइम. लाइम हम लेमन की बात नहीं कर रहे. हाँ, ओके. कैल्शियम ऑक्साइड इज क्विक लाइम, जस्ट लाइम. LIME, लाइम. लाइम का फॉर्मूला है कैल्शियम हाइड्रोक्साइड. सोडा का फॉर्मूला है सोडियम कार्बोनेट. तो ये जितनी भी आप देख रहे हो ना, कैल्शियम क्लोराइड, कैल्शियम सल्फेट, मैग्नीशियम क्लोराइड, मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट, दे ऑल कॉज परमानेंट हार्डनेस. परमानेंट हार्डनेस को रिमूव करने के लिए हमें लाइम और सोडा स्पेशली चाहिए. So this soda का chemical formula is Na2CO3, which reacts with the calcium chloride to form carbonate and NaCl, sodium sulfate and sodium chloride. All these salts are present, and in this way, ये जो permanent hardness cause कर रहे chloride और sulfate, इनको remove किया जा सकता है. Okay, so these hardness which can be which can be removed, that is in the form of chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium, they are called as non-alkaline hardness or non-carbonate hardness. So difference between, a question will be asked, difference between alkaline and non-alkaline hardness or carbonate and non-carbonate hardness. So children, just write down the first point and tell me. Just write down the first point. तो सिर्फ आपका अटेंडेंस लगा है. ओके, just write down the first point. If you have done, then let me know. After completing this, write down the any one reaction. Shall I change the slide? Okay. Yeah. Just write down calcium chloride and magnesium sulfate wala reaction. First and fourth reaction. First and fourth. So our first initial part of what is hard water, soft water, sources of water. Now we know impurities present in water. Then we know temporary and permanent hardness of water. Tomorrow we will learn about degree of hardness, wherein we will be doing numericals also. Okay, and maybe this Saturday we may have extra lecture also. And wherever, like if you are leaving early, जहाँ पे लेक्चर आपका 2 बजे खत्म हो रहा है या 3 बजे खत्म हो रहा है, 1 से 2 तो आपका लंच टाइम है, जो आफ्टरनून का एक लेक्चर अगर रहेगा तो हो सकता है आई विल शेड्यूल एन एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर बिकॉज वी हैव टू कंप्लीट द ऑल द मॉड्यूल्स वेरी प्रॉपरली एंड इफेक्टिवली. सिर्फ सिलेबस खत्म नहीं करना है हमें, तो एक्स्ट्रा लेक्चर्स कहीं ना कहीं हमें रिक्वायर्ड रहेंगे. ओके, so I'll announce it in advance, don't worry, but this Saturday I need 8 lectures, स्पेशली जहाँ पे हमें न्यूमेरिकल्स करना है, तो सो दैट आपको भी अच्छे से वो प्रैक्टिस हो जाए और आपको भी पता नहीं चले कि टाइम कैसे क्या. ओके, आई होप यू ऑल हैव डन विद दिस. So
Yes,
here
ma'am.
I stop my lecture. Okay, shall I end the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
All have done it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, and tomorrow also there is practical lecture, but we are planning, or we are just planning to, once we get proper guidelines, we are like thinking of calling you physically and get your experiments done in the lab itself. So tomorrow's practical lecture will be converted into theory lecture. तो कल भी हमारा water का continuation ही रहेगा. Okay. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, beta. Chalo.